Welcome back. It's been a while. I don't know. Kind of got stumped with a couple stuff and I got lazy. But I finally been able to get around the repeat section. I don't fully grasp it, and I'll get to it later. But it's pretty generic and it's a really good function. Hope all of you are doing well. But repeat is basically turbo. It is turbo in a nutshell, and it's super like manipulative. You can change it as much as you want, as fast as you want it. As long as the game recognizes the inputs, then you're golden. So sometimes you have to find sweet spots for different games. But yeah, like I said, it's a repeat function. By default, if you just leave it on repeat, as in the function, it starts to tick 10 times per second. So that means it activates every 100 milliseconds the input. Um, there is a parameter to it, and this is where it gets iffy. I don't get it, and I feel like it's bugged. I feel like I'm just not grasping the second parameter. But going back to the first parameter, if you put repeat 4, it'll tick 4 times a second and then reset back to, over and over and over again. Um, really, really well for Call of Duty, any kind of first person shooter, anytime you have to shoot a gun. This would be the this would be the function to use. I use it all the time, especially in Apex Legends. It makes every semi-automatic gun into a fully automatic, destroying beast. And for some reason in that game, even when I'm repeating as fast as possible, it still makes fully automatic weapons fully accessible. So there's not really too much of a downside. But let me just show you how it works. So if you can see here on my left side, I have a bunch of stuff on repeat, and they're all on center sip. You're gonna notice my Xbox 360 CE program flicker, and that's pretty fast. That's normal. That's normal speed right there, 10 times a second, and they're all activating continuously as long as I'm holding it. So as long as I'm holding the button, it's gonna activate, and if I let go, it turns off. So just showing you what it's capable of. If you go to potential, this is where it starts to get interesting. If you notice on lines like 6 and 7, it has like A and right trigger, and you'll see repeat 17, and then you see repeat 27 on center sip and center puff. This is where you can add your own parameter, your own timings. I found the sweet spots between repeat 17 or repeat 27, depending on what I need it for. I know Dying Light, when I get grappled by a zombie, it wants me to mash A as fast as possible, or when I'm lifting a door. And why go through all that trouble on mashing a button when you can just hold the repeat button? And it does it for you. You'll see how fast it triggers. Even though it doesn't trigger fully on this little program I have, it does recognize it in game. I think the max you can have it is 60, because at that point, I don't even think it triggers after that. It thinks you're holding the button. So there is a limit to this repeat, but I found my sweet spots between 17 and 27. So we'll see right here. Center sipping, you notice the A button flickering, and it's supposed to be faster than what it's showing. It just, I guess the program can't keep up with the speed. But it's going intensely fast. Same thing with line 7, center puff. You can melt with this thing, as long as you have your aiming correctly. This also works in other games. Shoot, I wish I had an example for this, but I think there's one in Tomb Raider where you're having a QTE. You have to jiggle the joystick left and right. Um, Specifically when you're stuck in a video game and you have to like jiggle the joystick because you're staggered or something. Lines 9 and 10 will be your solution. It says left joy left and left joy right, and it says repeat 10 and repeat 13, and they're both on the same button, right center sip. Um, Basically, not that I did the math, but I kind of did the timings. So if repeat 10, within 1,000 milliseconds repeats 10 times, that means it ticks every 100 milliseconds. And then I did the math the same thing with repeat 13, and I found like they don't intertwine as much as other numbers do. So it was a pretty good combination to mash them with. So when I do it, they don't conflict with each other. You notice it jittering left and right as fast as possible. Sometimes it lags because I guess they're conflict. You know, you can't go left and right at the same time, so it meets in the middle. But most of the times, it actually gets it pretty darn well. I think I had a couple people figure this one out in their games by using this setup, so I'm glad it worked. As in for delay repeat, which is the second parameter, where you add another number behind what you actually want, I honestly couldn't figure it out. It feels like everything I do, it just slows down the repeat, so I don't really know what it's supposed to be doing. I know Fred told me that it's supposed to delay the repeat and then add an extra timer to it, but it's way too confusing for me. And if it's supposed to do what it's supposed to do, I don't see a real. I don't know where I would use it at. You know, like I kind of want things quick. I actually want it to be. I want it to be repeat, but with a delay, just like delay on. Delay on plus repeat together, that would be amazing. That means you don't need two buttons for the same thing. You can just kind of like mash both of them together and it works out. But sadly, this is not it. I really don't know how to use this in the real world applications in video games. That made no sense. But yeah, let me show you an Apex clip real quick. I have the sweet number of when I'm aiming down sight, I set it to repeat 41. And then when I have it on anything else, I leave it at 40. Just so it could be quick. And it really works well for Apex Legends. I repeat 41, it repeats as 41 times a second. Obviously the gun's not gonna have that many bullets, but so here's a 99, obviously fully automatic. And then we got the P2020, which is semi-automatic. There you go. As you can see, even with the turbo set on center sit, aiming down sight and shooting 41 times a second, it shoots automatically, like fully automatic. So there you go. You don't really notice it. There's probably a slight delay, but I can't tell. Same thing. So the only problem is you got to work on your aim because this thing kicks. Once you start shooting a bunch of them, so it looks like a fully automatic weapon. It feels like one too. You want hip fire, even though it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be one tick. It's supposed to be. I think I put in all of them. Yeah, it's supposed to be one tick. But with this repeat function, it is fully automatic. Obviously you gotta test it with each game. Just like here. Peacekeeper. Like all of these guns are semi-automatic. I mean, they shoot in burst. So I don't have to do anything. I'm just sipping. Same thing with the Mozambique. You can say it's like an advantage. Ooh, you know what's a good one? The Hemlock. That one's a good example. Because even though it's burst, if you change it to single fire, it's supposed to only shoot once. Just like that. But with the turbo, pretty much says everything you need to know. Same with the G7 Scout. At this point, you can kind of get the gist of it. There's no delay. The only problem I have with this is energy weapons. For some reason, their rate of fire is so too much. It's much faster if you just hold the button. So I guess it wouldn't work with the Havoc and the L-Star, specifically the L-Star. So that's my limitations, but you know, I don't use the L-Star, so I'm fine. So by default, the L-Star is supposed to move like this. But with the turbo button, it actually doesn't work. You'll notice a burst and it pauses. I guess the controller can't keep up with the game mechanics. See, it shouldn't be doing that. But I can't fix that part. That is the only downside of this. I can't use the L-Star. But even with the Havoc, there's a minimal delay before shooting. So by default, it does it that quick. But with my turbo button, it's actually a slighter delay. That's the downside. I think it was like 100 milliseconds delay, but you can tell. On that, repeat, it's a great function. I know I did it with the pulse, but it's great. I love it. I use it almost every shooter. It really helps mow down my competition. Catch you on the next one. I'm gonna be doing, I don't know yet. Let me check. Have a good day, guys.